Well, hello, and welcome to the Light Effects Tone Meister Demo Extraordinaire. I'm your host, Paul, founder, CEO, creator, and builder of Light Effects. So here we are. This is the Tone Meister. I will give this disclosure on every demo. I'm not all that much of a guitar player. I play every once in a while. I can throw chords together. I can sometimes learn lead lines. But again, I'm not all that much of a guitar player. At heart, I am a drummer and a sound guy. So it is what it is. So you're not going to get any fanciness from me. It's going to be mostly chords. So there we go. Now that that's out of the way, I guess we'll talk about clean tone because that's important. So all tone from the guitar, straight out of this Telecaster. These are Lollar Special S pickups. They are wonderful. If you have a Telecaster, especially the bridge, the Special S bridge is, well, it's special. So if you're looking to tame that crazy twang that most Telecasters have, especially if you're using overdrive pedals, highly recommend. Love Lollar. I have, actually most of my guitars have Lollars in them. So cool. But yeah, so Telecaster, which is going to go straight into whatever pedal is being demoed, and then it's going straight out of that into the Dream by Universal Audio. You are all well aware of what this pedal is. I have it on a preset right now, so don't pay attention to any of these knobs and where they are set. And yeah, so it's just if you're curious, it is the Corey Wong Clean preset. I forget the exact name, but it's Corey Wong's, and it's literally just, I mean, as clean as you can basically get. So I'll give you, this is the neck pickup. Clean. I mean, like I said, clean. So middle. Clean. And bridge. So it does have the very slightest, little bit of breakup, which these Dream amps, I mean, these Fender amps, that's what they're kind of known for, that little flubby little, and that's like kind of digging in. So that's my clean tone. It's beautiful. I'm pretty much just going to live on the bridge pickup. That was a great chord. There we go. I know what I'm doing. All right, so Tone Meister. You're all well aware of this pedal, what it is based on. This is the Analog Man King of Tone. You know what it is. It's two blues breakers that are identical, and they sit side by side. And as far as like high gain, low gain, or standard, or whatever, all the different dip switch settings and all that good stuff. So the way I have it set right now is that this is high gain over here. Oh, you can hear that kind of kick in. This here is just your standard. So this is the way that Analog Man recommends setting it up, with high gain feeding the standard. So that's how I set it up. Maybe later on we'll go through the different dip switch settings. I'll have to double check. I am pretty certain that on the high gain, so hard clipping is engaged, high gain is set, and soft clipping is disengaged. And then on the standard side, both hard and soft clipping are off. And yeah, and we're gonna roll through it, and we'll, like I said, later on, we'll kind of flip this thing over, play with the dip switch settings, and see how it sounds. Again, here's clean tone. All right, so I have these set with the drives at noon, tone at noon. Volume is kind of where unity is, so let's hear the standard side. Does a little bit. Let's kick up the drive. Yeah, so I really like it with, I mean, the standard gain, just kind of, basically at Unity, just adding a little bit. The drive at noon to me is good, even for playing just clean on the neck. So it just adds a little something. It's a little darker. The presence knob is just above kind of minimum. So yeah, I mean, which is, the way that you get these sent to you from Analog Man is, or the King of Tone is going to be with the presence knob all the way down, and then you adjust to taste. So for a typical Telecaster, I'd say you could probably leave the presence control all the way off on these. For this with the Special S, since it does have a slightly darker tone than your standard bridge Telecaster pickup, you can turn that presence knob up a little bit, especially here on this neck pickup. It is a little darker, but I like it. I like this. I mean, I could put this on my board and leave this side always on, and I think it sounds great. So that's middle. Back to the bridge. All right, what do we all come here for? High gain, of course. I actually really, I'm not a blues breaker guy, but this with the high gain setting, it just, let's crank it. You'll see. Yeah, I really like this in high gain mode with the hard clipping set. That's probably my favorite setting. I would not be opposed to running both of these high gain with hard clipping and just melt people's faces off. So let's see how they both sound. So you can hear a little bit of noise. Honestly, it's kind of just the way that, I mean, it's a Telecaster, so it's going to be a little noisy. It is shielded, but I mean, obviously with the higher gain setting, you're hearing that noise come in a bit. Just kind of by controlling the direction of my guitar, it can make it better or worse. So noise is to be expected. I'm sorry, but I don't know if anyone ever told you that pedals should be quiet, but especially high gain stuff, sorry, not the case. Anyway. Yeah, it just rules. So I like this pedal a lot. So let's go ahead. We're going to dive into, I'm going to turn the gain up on the lower gain side. And let's play with some dip switches. How about we, I can do this. I can do this without unplugging. There we go. All right, so this side, this here, let me give you a little close up. So this is a board of the old Tone Meister here. So this is the Ion Effects Theseus. I think I'm saying that right. And then here's your dip switches. So cool thing about, and we'll get into the wiring and all that stuff later on, but the cool thing about these Ion boards is that, I think it's said Ion or Aeon, but you've got high gain control on both sides, which I think is fantastic. So it is beautiful that you can use this middle switch on these, the 3 dip switch settings on each side. The middle one will control the high gain, and just know that wherever it says it, that's where you put the switch to engage it. So for example, on this one, high gain would be off on both sides. You just switch it down and then that engages it. Then you've got your soft clipping, hard clipping, soft clipping for your right and left sides. And yeah, so that's the board. That's the dip switches, how they work. Also socketed op amps here. So if you want to swap those in and out, go for it. You have my permission. We'll talk diodes and all that crap later on. But all right, so this side here is our yellow side, aka where it is set right now just for standard. Not a whole lot going on, so we can obviously hear if we engage high gain. Yep, you just heard it. So definitely a difference between that and the high gain with the hard clipping, because remember, on this side we have soft clipping and hard clipping disengaged. So this is basically just op amp clipping that's happening. All right, let's see soft clipping. So 30s it up a little bit. Let's flip that back. Now it does change the volume. So when you're messing with diodes and introducing different diodes into the, the signal path here, so you can hear that it's definitely clipping it harder than it was because we're adding soft clipping, but the volume, because that extra clipping is happening with the diodes, we lose a little bit of volume. It is what it is. That's life. That's life, friends. So, all right. So, soft clipping, disengage. Let's go to hard clipping. That's for me. That's my life. Let's do both, because why not? And that's just with, that's on your standard, no frills, low gain side. I like it with just the soft clipping on that side, so that's how I'm going to leave it. All right, so let's go to the high gain side. Let's turn that hard clipping off. Yes, here's how much louder it gets. Because we are strictly op amp clipping, which means that more signal is getting through and not being cut off. Louder waveform. Let's get some soft clipping. then let's kick both. All right, so that was the Tone Meister. Pretty neat little pedal. I like it a lot. And which is weird because I had a King of Tone, or sorry, a Prince of Tone way back in the day, and it was not really for me. I couldn't get along with it, but I think that now that I've got both, or the standard, I have both of them. I understand kind of the magic behind it. So let's unplug this bad boy. Let's talk about what's going on inside. Because as you can see, a lot of wiring going on. So super cool aspect or feature of the Ion PCBs and the projects that they do, especially in the big box like these. So great feature that we'll talk about with the wiring and the routing and all these jacks that you see here. Because fun fact, this is not a stereo pedal. But anyway, so again, we already talked about the dip switches that are going on in here. So those are going to set your soft clipping, hard clipping, or your high gain, however you want to set it. Your presence trim pots are here. So like I told you, I barely had these maybe a quarter turn. Just adding a little bit of presence on, especially for the bridge pickup of the lollers. So that's all it needed. So if you've got humbuckers, you've got plenty of room to increase. P90s, whatever guitar you've got, you can kind of tailor it to your needs. And then, like I said, socketed op amps. So if you want to swap them in and out, go for it. Just be careful of what you're throwing in there, making sure that it is the correct type. So dip 8 and yeah, they're you can change them in and out. With the op amp clipping in this circuit, it's, you're not going to notice much in a mix. I'll just say that. As far as I know with some of the pedals that I build, I have the brightness control for the LEDs. I didn't have the space to do it in this one. It just would have required a lot more. I didn't want to do it with the trimmers. So I did socket the LED resistors, so the current limiting resistors, which are these two right here. So you can pop those out and throw in different value resistors if you would like. And, if you do, just shoot me an email. I can let you know what value they are. I forget off the top of my head. Probably should have been prepared with that for this video, but oh well, here we are. But just you can pick up a pack of resistors on Amazon. You can get like 50 values for probably $10. So, you can try it out. The lower you go though, be careful because you can burn out the LED if it's not rated for that much current going through it. So yeah, so what's up with all these wires and what's up with all these jacks? So if you look on the back here, so let's look at it this way. So here's top of the pedal. Here we go. Working our way this way. So this is your input. You're going to notice these triangles. Solid triangle is your input. And then if you work your way all the way over here, let's skip the rest of them. Output right here. Easy enough. Your solid triangles, in, out. Now, what are these two jacks all about? I'm very glad that you asked. So these are send and return loops. And basically what they do is, if we're looking here, so again, this is your in right here. This is the send, this is the return, and then this is your output. So basically, if you're just going in and then going out and you're leaving these two jacks unplugged with nothing in them, these are switched jacks. So when nothing is plugged into them, it basically travels from this wire, comes out through here, connects to here, which jumpers to this jack. when nothing is plugged into this side makes connection with this side, so it basically just sends it straight back. So that returns back to here, then comes out back over here. Makes sense, right? So then when you plug things into these jacks, you can separate the sides out, which is super fun and awesome. Or you can also wire it to do order switching. So essentially, this is your input for the right side. This is your output for the right side. This is your input for the left side, output for the left side. If you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sense? And then if you want to do order switching, so let's say you have your high gain set on your right-hand side and then you have the standard gain on the left-hand side. Let's say you want to switch that order, but you don't want to have to take your pedal off the board, take the screws out, pop the backplate off, do the dip switches. Easy enough that you can just, when you're routing it, so you go into here, then you would come out of here, over to here, the input, and then out of this guy, and there. Now this side's first, this side is second. So, hi, sorry for the quick little insert here, because in my original, I told you I was going to talk about diodes, and I forgot. So we're going to insert this real quick right here. We're going to talk about the diodes, because I know that is a very hot topic among anyone who knows anything at all about the Analog Man, King of Tone. So basically, where we start with diodes in the original King of Tone. So you had the 1S1588, which is a classic tube screamer clipping diode. And then there was also a set of, on each side, so you have one set of 1S1588, and then another set of the MA856. Now, if you want the whole history on these diodes and what Analog Man is doing, you can search those throughout YouTube. But again, it's a big sticking point with this pedal in particular. So I wanted to talk about what I did in the pedal. So again, 1S1588 in the original, and then also the MA856. Both of those are pretty much dead and gone. So they're very, very hard to track down. And when you do find them, they're either fake or they're expensive. So what I believe is currently in the Analog Man King of Tones that you get directly from him are going to be the 1N4148 in place of the 1S1588. Not really a discernible difference between the two, to be honest, but some people say they notice a difference. And then in the other set of diodes, so the MA856, there at some point he had to switch to the MA858, which they're pretty much identical. You'd be hard pressed to tell any difference at all. And then the next closest after that, because the MA856, I mean, you literally cannot find them. They are so obsolete. But the next closest is the BA282. Now, those are also obsolete, discontinued, but they're easier to find. And the next closest option is the BAS33, which most clones are going to use. They're the most readily available and the cheapest option for getting as close as possible to the original MA856 diodes. Now, in my boards, what I did with the Tone Meister, I found and sourced the 1S1588. I will get as close as possible. Those are these red and blue ones at the top here on each side. So I found those at Small Bear Electronics. They are legitimate, and I was buying so few that I didn't mind shelling out the extra cost per diode to put them in here. So these will have the 1S1588 on each side of your Tone Meister. For the other, it might be hard to read, but I was able to source from stompboxparts.com the BA282. Yes, they are legitimate. Again, they are findable. They are more expensive than the BAS33, but I did find the BA282, and that's what is in here. So they are the closest thing that is at least somewhat readily available to the MA856. And even if you find MA856, you're going to be spending, I couldn't even tell you how much per diode. I mean, probably like $8 to $10 per diode at this point, which is absolute insanity. So the BA282s, you can get them. I mean, I got these, I think they were like $1 per, which is still very high per diode. But yeah, so again, 1S1588, and then there's also the BA282s. That's what you're getting in the Tone Meister. That's all I'm going to talk about diodes right now. You can search for yourself, you know, the different options and what diodes do in circuits and how they function, and if they really matter. That's for you to decide. Personally, I think this pedal sounds great, and I like the diodes in it, and I think it sounds awesome. So that's all that really matters. Again, if it sounds good, it is good. All right, thanks. So that's the Tone Meister in all of its glory. LED setup, red, yellow, just like the KOT. An ode to Analog Man. As far as the design goes, I stole this from my good friend Rob. So Rob, I play with a lot at church. He is the actual Tone Meister, and he has a barbershop in Philly called Meister's. So I stole his logo, mainly because he's an avid King of Tone user, and I made a special one for him in matte black, and I really like the design, so I wanted to make more. So I put him on this atomic purple enclosure, and I think it looks really, really cool. And yeah, so that's the Tone Meister in a nutshell, with some crappy guitar playing by yours truly. So definitely, if you want to check it out, I do have a couple of these available, and in the future, I will probably be doing more matte black ones, just because I really liked that one more, actually. So there it is, the Lytt Effects Tone Meister. Get it while it's good.